What's up everyone, Anime Infection here with a Wayfinder Early Access Launch Review. This review is basically based upon everything I've done for the last couple of hours in regards to anywhere from gameplay to waiting in the queues to as far as login issues and everything in between. When the game first launched, I was able to download the game. That wasn't really an issue. I don't think any amount of players really had issues downloading the game itself. Although when it came to logging in, that was a different matter altogether. When I did my stream earlier in the afternoon, roughly around somewhere between 1 and 1:30, what ended up happening was I was pretty much sitting in there for almost 2 hours before I had access to Wayfinder in itself. Now, when I did get in, I had the ability to play the tutorial. And the tutorial was really cool. Explained how to move the character, what abilities you had, what abilities you don't have, and I played it all the way through up to the boss fight. And funny enough, I beat the boss. Obviously, because it was a tutorial boss, it wasn't meant to be hard. And then as soon as I defeated the boss, it asked me to go through a portal. Unfortunately, that portal was not accessible, and there were a couple of times I've tried to get into that portal more than once, and I had zero access to it. Unfortunately, what I had to end up doing was I had to log out of the game, log back in. At that point, I got to experience what everyone else was experiencing, queue times. The queue time for me, when it first originally started, was somewhere in the 2000s, but I noticed that the queue time did not really sit in the 2000s for very long. It looks like it dropped anywhere from 2000 down to 1000, down to 900, and then it just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The one thing I will mention to anybody who is an actual console player, the one mistake I noticed I did make was that I left my controller alone just because I was waiting for the queue times to go down, and unfortunately my PS5 controller got turned off, and because of that I lost my ability in the queue and I had to start over again. That was my own doing. That wasn't something, it wasn't developers' fault. It was nobody's fault but my own. And so in regards to that, I was able to get back in. I started playing the storyline. I got to another dungeon, the first dungeon of the game, and one of the lost areas, as they call it. And what ended up happening was I played it all the way through, cleared the entire map, made sure I found all the loot, all the bits and gadgets and all the other fun stuff. And then I fought the boss, and unfortunately I was in some kind of server, waiting for a server access to get back onto the main page. It was really weird. There was a queue time. It said 300 seconds. It went from 300 to 900. It kept going up and up and up. At some point, I did read within Discord itself saying, hey, just to let you know, if you're in, stay in, but if you log out, the login is disabled. For a lot of people, this was very discouraging, simply because, for those who were able to get in, they were lucky enough to play for a little bit, and for others, there were some people who didn't even get to play at all. However, I have said this before multiple times, everyone should have expected this. Anybody who has watched any content creator streams or any videos should have been fully aware that we were going to have issues. I've never seen an early access go completely smoothly without any issues. Just like I've played Final Fantasy from beta to the most recent expansion on Final Fantasy 14, and even with Final Fantasy 14 being as big as a company as Square Enix is, even they had long queue times for at least a couple of months, and that was an ongoing issue. There was a lot of lag time. They put if anybody was basically just AFK or away from their device, then they would get logged out, and then it would give another player the opportunity, which made sense because there was a lot of players flooding the Final Fantasy servers. And you know what? I would not be surprised if Wayfinder ended up doing the exact same thing. This is something we're going to have to expect. And you know what? They are doing the best they can. You know, I've seen a lot of feedback within the Wayfinder General under the Discord. And, you know, I see how Solid and Sir Snarf, you know, they are doing their very best to keep us updated, keep us informed with everything going on. For those who want to know, you know, go onto their Discord, look at the server alerts, see that they're trying to update us almost every hour on the hour. But the other thing is too, we have to be patient. Again, I don't know how else I can really justify or explain this to everyone. You have to understand, this is early access, 6 months early of early access. And I understand, you know, we are founders. We've paid for a service so we can play it. And I completely get that. I myself invested in the Exalted pack. I went for the highest tier pack, but at the same time, I am not overly getting angry. I'm not overly getting upset. The reason for being is because I'm aware. I know how these launches go. I know how these launches happen. Whether you spent $20 or you spent $150, the launch was going to go about the same as every other launch for any other MMO you've ever played. And so I ask the community to please bear in mind, give Solid and Sir Snarf a break. You know, they're doing the best they can. The developers are doing the best they can. I'm hoping that tomorrow will be a bit better. I'm hoping that, you know, I'm able to get in and play a bit more of Wayfinder. As far as from what I've played so far, the game is absolutely amazing. I really, really like the game. The gameplay is really smooth. The character that I picked was Nis. She seems like she's a rogue class. She's very, very cool. I started opening some of the packs by using those keys. I'm sorry if my pronunciation is really bad. I'm not really remembering what the name of the thing I was doing earlier within the game. However, like I said before, the game seems very beautiful. It seems like it has a bit of like the old school RPG where it seems like it uses vocal at very crucial times during the storyline, but then other times if you're just talking to a character just to talk to them, they just use, you know, boxes with words in them and you're just supposed to read it. And I've been used to that. I've played, you know, old school games where I've seen that too. But they do have voices, you know, for the criteria of the cinematics and for when you're doing the major point of the storyline, and that's really good too. Now, I haven't even touched any pros or cons, so what I'm going to really do is kind of break it down for everybody, and if for any reason you guys feel that what I'm saying is wrong, you disagree, you do agree, I definitely would like to hear your comments. I am kind of curious to see how everyone else's opinion stacks against mine, simply because to me, I'm very calm about this. I don't see it as big as a deal as some of you will, but then again, I did get to log in for a little bit. There may be others who haven't, and so of course they're going to be bitter and upset because they invested their money to be able to play it today, and you know, not when they actually get it fixed. But I will say this, before I get into the pros and cons, I am not disappointed with developers. I'm not disappointed with Solid. I'm not disappointed with Sir Snarf. I'm not being promoted. I'm not being forced to be told this. This is just my own opinion. This is my view. This is how I look at things. So, without further ado, let's get into that. As far as the pros go, you know what? They said that what they were going to do. They were able to release it on PC. They were able to release it on console, and we were able to download it. You know what? They really thought it was only going to be PC only, and the fact that they got the consoles even involved, regardless whether we were able to get in or not, that's a big win as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of times where they may have to push it back more because, servers are crashing, or there's failures, or there's something else going on. To me, that's a big win. Another big win for me was for the short amount of gameplay that I had, I noticed that I was able to play, and the game ran pretty smoothly. I was playing on a PS5, and I will say that, within the PS5, NIS moved very well. I was using the low attacks, high attacks. I was able to double jump. I was able to use her abilities. I didn't really see any big major issues with the gameplay itself. I didn't really see any glitches in graphics or anything like that. Again, I'm a console player, not a PC player. So if you PC players, if you've had any other issues graphics wise or gameplay wise, please put it in the comments. Let me know. I am kind of curious to see how the PC players handled it. As far as the storyline, it seemed pretty smooth. The cinematics, the video, the storytelling, everything was actually on point. It was really, really cool. I'm looking forward to finding out more about this story. I didn't really get far as levels concerned. What I did try to do during the live stream was talk about NIS and her abilities. What I really need to do is I need to make a personal content page about her and the other characters as well, as soon as the early access or the Wayfinder game actually has the ability to do so. So that way, you guys get a better idea of how NIS plays and what her abilities are and how everything works. With that, I think that really boils down all the pros. As I said, I didn't really have too much trouble with the game, other than the queue times and the server trying to do matchmaking. That's what I meant to say earlier. The matchmaking was very long for me to get back into the main part of the game. And so with that, let's go with the cons. As far as the cons go, I'm going to start with Discord. I'm not going to mention anybody individually. I'm just going to say as a whole. As a community, you know what? We need to be doing better. We really do. Everyone needs to expect that these things happen. And there's no such thing as a perfect launch. I've never heard of anything being a perfect launch. I work in the network industry, and you know what? In computers in general, I've never heard of a computer being absolutely perfect without any problems. There's always glitches and there's always faults. Not trying to get off topic, but just try to keep that in mind. One of the cons that I've seen is the very salty community. I do see that a lot of people are bitter. I understand your reasoning for being bitter, but I do think it could have been handled better, rather than constantly slamming the Discord server with bad talk and just bad negativity. As I said before, that's not going to help anybody. They're doing the best they can. Please give them some credit where credit's due. The next thing I will say, as far as everything else goes, is their server updates were on point. This is more of a con than it was a positive for me. Now, the updates did help. However, in my own opinion, with all the server updates they were letting us know about and saying, hey, this is down, login is now down, this is down, and that is down. In my honest opinion, I think what they should have done in the very beginning, or at least within the last couple of hours, I would say anywhere from noon Central Time all the way to maybe about 4 p.m. I think what they should have done was they should have said, hey, at this very time we are having an extreme amount of difficulty with the server. What we're going to do is we are going to take down the server. We are going to turn off the logging capability, and we're going to do some stress tests on the server for population or for limits and see what's going on. And by doing so, that probably would have helped. They mentioned earlier that the dev team, as well as themselves, have tried to, test the server, and they said everything looked good and everything was had no trouble. But to me, my biggest concern of this was the way I look at it is in this perspective and in this light. They said that the server was in tip-top condition for them, for the developers, and they had no trouble going in and out and everything else. But at the same time, we don't know how many people they were trying to test that with. Was it 10? Was it 50? Was it 100? If the development team was very small and it was only a handful of people, or 20 at the most, I don't really think you would have noticed a massive stress on the server itself, or multiple servers if that's what they have. Because Wayfinder has such a big community at the very beginning, I'm gonna say maybe hundreds, if not thousands, or even 10,000s. You know, all these PC players, all these console players hopping in at once, it's no surprise that the servers went down. Again, that goes back to like what I said earlier. I do think that after 4 hours, you know, they should have said, we're gonna take the server down. I think we're gonna do some more maintenance on it. We'll keep you informed and let you know. I think that they needed to do a better stress test on it, but again, with it being early access, this is the whole point before, you know, the game goes live and free to play for everyone across you know, across all systems. Now, for us early access players, yes, we have to deal with this, but you know, I think it's an extreme pleasure to do that, because you know what, we're giving them inside information to make the game better for our friends and all the other gamers who want to play when the game goes free to play. With that, the other con I noticed is that while the Exalted Pack for me gave me most of the stuff, I saw a lot of stuff missing. They did mention that earlier during later in the day. They said that there were some people that they noticed that purchased the Exalted Pack were missing some items for us to take snapshots, and then that way we could address the situation at hand. We can see what you're missing. So that's probably something I need to do. Although to be perfectly honest, I don't know exactly what I'm missing, so I may just take a snapshot and do it anyway, just because I'm kind of curious to see if anything else gets added to it. I didn't see Kairos, the heroic Kairos, so I'm wondering if that was one of the things I'm missing. I don't know. I thought maybe there was something you had to do in game to get him. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sure. If you know, again, please leave a comment. Let me know. I am kind of curious. Now, like I said, the last thing I got to do was one dungeon, and then after I beat the boss, it stuck the server into a matchmaking mode, to where I guess it was trying to get me access to the main server, or the main part of the game. And I will definitely say that, you know what, I got to play it. I thought the game was really good. I think it was a lot of fun. Moving forward, I do think they need to do better stress testing going forward, just so that way there's less complaints, less issues, and everything else. With everything else, you know, as I said to everyone, I ask for your patience. Please be patient with them. You know, they're doing the best they can. The developers are doing the best they can. They are aware of the situations. They are aware of the errors. They are aware of the logins, the lock pages, the fact that they have to put lockdowns because the server's getting overwhelmed. Give them time. And you know what? Believe it or not, things are going to get better. Things will always get better before they will, at least to me, things will get better before they get worse. Anyway, this is a bit of a long, lengthy video. I hope that, you know, I hope this didn't deter you from playing Wayfinder. I hope it doesn't deter you in the future from playing Wayfinder. I'm looking forward to playing with anybody who's wanting to play with me. Anyway, you know what? I'm looking forward to playing tomorrow as soon as I get out of work, and during this weekend. I'm gonna see if the gameplay is any better, and yeah, that's all I really got. If you have any questions, like I said, leave a comment below. Like and subscribe if you choose. You don't have to, but I would like some comments. Just let me know how what you think of my content and what I've done so far in regards to everything Wayfinder related. This is Anime Infection, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.